We're gonna pop in here to give a huge, massive, jumbo shout out to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you, seriously.
They're the grease in our gearboxes,
Are the lights of our lives.
they're the debugging tool in our IDE.
You guys are the marinara sauce to our spicy meatbots.
And so from the bottoms of our hearts, thank you.
Circuit Masters, rise up. Yeah, so cool. I'm so cool. Okay, make sure that battery's disconnected, ya dingus. I'm kidding. Then carefully remove the 12 volt to 9 volt converter because we'll need to remount it. We also want to connect one more terminal to battery power, so let's swap out this 4 long barrier strip with a 5 long barrier strip. It's like you're adding another long. Next step, shift the Arduino down a hole, TM. And finally, we officially recommend turning both motor driver boards sideways with the board that will drive the arm on top. This will clear up some prime real estate for the servo driver board, coming soon to a Frobo near you. Step 2, arm motor prep. For this step, grab 2 male-to-male jumper wires, 3 female-to-male jumper wires, and 1 cable sleeve. We have this motor driver from Sting all hooked up to power, grounded to the Arduino, and we have the 3 pins needed to control one motor. All we have to do is hook up 3 more pins to control the other motor. I'm doing input B1 into pin 11, input B2 into pin 12, and PWMB into 13. Wrap that up in a nice cable sleeve. Now if we disconnect this motor driver real quick, you'll see that we have jumper wires connected to motor A plus and motor A minus. Let's hook up the remaining 2 jumper wires to motor B minus and motor B plus. And once we mount the electrical board, these 4 wires will connect to the 2 arm motors. Yay! Step 3, power converter. My Luke Skywalker. Go ahead and grab 1 12 volt to 5 volt converter, 1 12 volt to 9 volt converter, 4 3/8 inch 632 screws, and 4 regular nuts. Okay, so this converter takes in 12 volts and spits out 5 volts, which is the perfect amount of voltage for a circuit board that we'll be adding later, which is the Adafruit servo driver board. Screw the converter marked for 5 volts, make sure it's the correct one, into the side of your back left vertical channel. Then screw the one marked for 9 volts into the side of your back right vertical channel. Step 4, it's servo driver board time. Here's what you need. 1 Adafruit servo driver board, 4 30cm female to male jumper wires. How many inches is that? Who knows? 2 female barrel jacks, 1 with male DuPont connectors and 1 with fork connectors, 1 12-inch servo extension cable, 2 half-inch screws, 2 nylock nuts, and a cable sleeve. Go ahead and screw your Adafruit servo driver board into the remaining 2 top holes. Screw the fork connectors attached to the female barrel jack into the newly hooked up terminals. And if it isn't already, screw the other female barrel jack into the servo driver board. Now we need to give the servo driver circuit board itself power. Just the circuit board, not the servos, mind you. So let's hook up that VCC or voltage pin to 5 volts on the Arduino and ground to ground. Then, to let the Arduino send data to the servo driver, hook up SDA to SDA on Arduino and SCL to SCL on Arduino. Cable sleeve that shiz. Plug the servo extension cable into port 0 with the ground closest to the edge. Step 5, mounting. For this step, you're going to need 4 half-inch 632 screws with regular nuts screwed on, 4 regular nuts, 1 electrical board, and 2 cable sleeves. Go ahead and mount that electrical board in 4 holes such that the vertical part of the board is firmly against that back channel. And don't forget to feed the drivetrain motor cables up through the slot. Plug the A plus and A minus wires into the left drivetrain motor, and the B minus and B plus into the right drivetrain motor. On the second motor driver, A plus and A minus go to the left arm motor, add a cable sleeve, and B minus and B plus go to the right arm motor, and add a cable sleeve. Step 6, hooking up the servo. For this step, all you're going to need is one extra long cable sleeve. Okay, so let's get the servo on the claw all hooked up. Plug the other end of your servo extension cable into the servo's cable, making sure the colors match up, and then disconnect your servo cable from the servo driver board for a sec. Wrap the whole thing in your cable sleeve, then feed the whole thing up and through the bottom channel of the 4-bar linkage. Feed it out through the side and plug it back into port 0, ground closest to the edge. Step 7, hook up that sweet PS2 controller. Hook up the 5V to 5V on the Arduino, ground pin goes to ground, and for the other 4 we need to use very specific digital pins. CMD to 50, DAT to 51, CLK to 52, and ATT to 53. Go ahead and zip tie that off to the side. Whoa, now we're ready to rumble. And you get it? It's funny because rumble is a setting on the controller. Step 8, hook up power and inspect that electrical. Don't forget to get your wiring approved by the electrical inspector. Getting a call from Chief. He says this is it. Before we wrap up, here's the most important thing to take away from working on robots like these. If you have to change wiring for any reason whatsoever, disconnect power. That means turning it off and unplugging the battery before you touch it. Don't let your little fingers on the wires when there's a battery plugged in, okay? No battery, disaster free. TM pending.